everyone, this is Tiffany. Welcome to Tiffany Colors. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my completed pages for the month of July. It's early in the morning here. It's August 1st, so I thought I better get this done now or I'm not going to be able to have time to do it. So I apologize for my morning voice. These are all the books that you see here is what I worked in this month. I will tell you, I really wasn't all that creative this month. I'll even show you some whips that I had started in the beginning of the month, but I felt like I started out July with a bang and I was gung-ho and I was going to finish a lot of really good coloring pages, and then life happened and we got super busy and I ended up getting sick. So all I really wanted to do was color by number, and I'll show you what I've been doing in my color by number. But yeah, so you're going to see a lot of color by number this month. Not a whole lot of really creative pages, but I will show you my whips. And so let me clear this off and we will get started. All right, so I want to show you, these are the books I started working out in the month of July, and I did not get them completed, so they're still on my to-do list. But the first one I started out with was Whimsical Darlings coloring book by Jana Proserverna, however you say her name. And I wanted to try doing a bokeh type background, excuse me, with my, since I hadn't worked with them very much, with my Shuttle Art water-based gel crayons. And so I just did them dry, and then I went over it with a water brush pen to kind of blend them a little smoother. And so, yeah, down here I used way too much water, as you can tell. But I like how this came out, and that was a lot of fun to do. So I really want to try using them more in my backgrounds. I did choose a color palette, which is why I chose these colors. But I just have to finish her. I think I started her skin with Artex colored pencils. So I need to finish her. And then, let's see, I then worked out of Life in a Jar. And this one really is just about completed. I wished I had just finished it up, but I was working on this one, which I think came out really pretty. I love the color palette. Again, I chose something off of Pinterest. And I love the graduation in the background. I need to obviously still finish this and go in and do more shading like in the sand. But yeah, this was fun. And I wish I had time to go back and finish it. So hopefully you'll see it in my August completed pages. And then this is a forever whip out of this book that I can't seem to finish. And it's this one with the sea turtles. And it looks like there might be a stingray or something in the middle. The problem is I used my Faber-Castell Pitt pens for like the turtle and the stingray, and then the background I didn't have colors in the Pitt pens, so I had to use my Staedtler dual-ended markers, and so I feel like the background is so much more vibrant than the actual image itself, and so it kind of blends in. I don't know. I do like using those Faber-Castell Pitt pens though, because they're just so easy on this paper. And it's easy to get into the little boxes without bleeding over the lines. So I don't know. I might have to just do one whole page just with the Pitt pens and see how that comes out. Oh, and then I did use a jelly roll glaze for the eyes. I don't know if you can see that. So yep, I just got this section here left to do. So hopefully I can complete that in August. And then the last whip I have to show you is this Rooms of Wonder And I started this with my Crayola Super Tips. I thought I would dig those out and see. I did pick a color palette, so I'm going to do this whole page in these colors here. This was the color palette that I had picked out. And then I was shading over it with, I think, my Artex. The only problem is it's coming out a little dark. I'm not sure if I love this color palette, but I'm not sure if that was a good choice for this page or not. I might have to try that color palette in a different page, but hopefully I can get this one finished as well in August. Okay, now we will move on to the completed pages. So I got a page done in Color by Colors, Tender Mandalas by Kira Shershniva. And let's see if I can find the page easily. And I completed this page. And I used my Teo Tree art markers because they're fine tip and they can get into all these little spaces quite easily. I found that the more I've used my Teo Trees, the less bleed out they give, probably because there's less ink in them. But I actually really like them now, and I've been using them a lot this month. Hopefully I don't run out. But yeah, like how that one came out. And let's see, I'll show you the other book that I got a lot done in this month. My 15 Nighttime Mandalas by Camelia Angelkova. And I started here at the beginning of the month. So I completed this one on July 1st, and then I just kept on going. I choose color palettes on Pinterest, and then pick my markers with my Teo Trees because I feel like the Teo Trees have a wide variety and they're small nib, so you can get into those small spaces really easily. This one I completed on July 2nd. I'm not really sure about this color palette. It's very dark. I like the more lighter, vibrant, and I also like the way it looks on the back. I think the back looks just as pretty as the front. Another one on July 2nd. Pretty purples and blues. I think this one I just picked random colors. I don't think this was a color palette, but it's still pretty. So July 3rd on that one. Oh, this one I love. This one reminds me of like pineapples. So the color palette worked very well for this mandala. July 4th, I completed that one. July 6th. July 7th. This one's a pretty color palette as well. I just start in the middle, and then I have my colors all lined up in a row next to me, and I start in the middle, and then I just kind of work my way out. And I try not to put the same color touching each other. So yeah, July 8th for this one. July 8th again. That color palette I like. July 16th. I think this is my last one. Yep, July 30th. So I got I was in a mandala kick this month. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pages completed this month in this book. So I probably will be continuing to work in it throughout August. Okay, so I have to show you what I ended up treating myself to this month. Alexandra Francis came out with this new color by number fairy houses, and I have her color by number gardens, which you will see, that I worked in also this month. But when I saw the fairy houses, I was like, oh my God, I have to get it. It is just so adorable. I think the indoor scenes are my favorite. Though, yeah, you'll see. Anyway, so I started from the front. Okay, this is another thing I did this month. I saw Ren's channel, which I think it's Ren's Coloring Craze, something. She was going through all of her completed pages, videos. Like she was going through all of her books. She was showing her collection and she was showing her completed pages in every book she's done. And she outlines in marker and then colors in with crayon. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really want to try this. This brings me back to my childhood. So I grabbed my Crayola Squeaks. So if you guys haven't seen these, I'm sure you've seen these before, but I've had these for a while and never really used them. They're a tiny little marker, but they have the name of the marker on the marker. Like, why can't Super Tips do this? And a lot of these colors match the crayons that are in the crayon box as well. So I was able to swatch out my markers with a name. And so I outlined in these Crayola markers. And then I went and grabbed my Crayola crayons and then I colored in. And I thought, what a good idea. That way I'm not using up all my, because you know how it is. Blues and yellows get used up the fastest in alcohol markers. And I am running out like crazy. And I do not want to keep buying more markers. So I thought, for just quick, and these pages go so quick. And I needed pages that were mindless, that I could just sit and relax and zone out because July was so stressful for me. So that's what I did a lot of this month, is color by numbers with my Crayola markers and crayons, and I just had so much fun. So I completed this one on July 17th, and then I just kept continuing. Look how colorful that is and vibrant. Just so pretty. And I know sometimes it's just simple and it's not very artistic, but it's what you need. Here's another one I completed on July 22nd. This one gives me definite fall vibes. I'm getting excited for fall coloring and pumpkin spice coffee. And then this one I completed on the 31st, on the very last day. But I don't know. I think that the outlining of the markers just make it pop. And then the coloring of the crayons, even though you see some of the white, it doesn't bother me. I really, really love how these came out. So I will continue to keep working in this one. So since I had worked, actually this might have been my first book I started working in like that. Yeah, July 12th. In my, let's see, my Color by Number Gardens by Alexandra Francis. I think this was my first book by her that I bought back in May. So this is when I, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump you. This is when I started doing the outline of the marker. And then I even tried shading with the crayon to see what that looked like. This was kind of my experimental page. And then this one was just done in all Crayola crayon. I didn't do any marker. I just did straight crayon. And I tried shading with the crayon. Oh, you know what? I think I might have outlined this with alcohol marker now that I'm looking at the back. Okay, so I probably outlined it with my Teo trees. And then I went in with my crayons. And then this one was just straight crayon. This one was straight Teo tree markers. And then this one, was this one? Nope, this was Teo tree markers and crayon as well. So I actually hadn't brought out my Pipsqueaks yet. I was just trying out with alcohol marker and crayon. So yeah, I got those done in this book and I will continue on from there. And then I was like, well, what other coloring books can I dig out and do my marker and crayon motif? And I did this one. I think too, Ren had shown on her page that she did them in her, was it tile coloring books? I don't have any of those, but Sachin's wife does them, and her name's going blank, but she does those tile books where you have an image and then you have all the little blocks around and they look like tiles. You know what I'm talking about. So that's when I pulled out my stained glass, because I'm like, well, that's kind of like the tile. And so this is when I did really start doing more Crayola super tips or Crayola pip squeaks, and then the crayon on top of it, and it goes by so fast. This one I did a while ago, so I continued on with this one, the tiger, because see, you use a lot of the same colors in these color by number books, and so you end up really using a lot of your markers. And I really wanted to find an art medium that really wasn't expensive, but would work well on this type of paper, because these are kind of like the old-fashioned coloring book paper. So I was like, oh my gosh, excuse me, this works so well. And then this is the last one I did, this red panda, on July 30th. I pulled out my Daisy Joy Princess coloring book and completed a page in here doing the same thing. Pipsqueak Crayola markers and Crayola crayons, and I completed this one on July 19th. Let's see if I can find, I worked in Dollhouse color by number by Sachin Sachdeva, and this one I did all just with my Pipsqueaks. I just picked out, because there are a lot of smaller like details in here, and the Pipsqueaks, I'll show you, they have like the perfect nib. So it's kind of like a super tip nib. It's not as scratchy as their fine point markers, and very juicy, and you can kind of lay them on their side, or you can go straight up to get a really, like the super tips, you can get a really fine point on the tip. So I wish they would come out with full-size markers like that with the names and the tips, and we would be golden. Anyway, so I completed that one on July 14th. And I was getting in kind of the fall mood, the very end of July. So I pulled out my Little Witches and I completed a page on the very last day of July. Again, same method, Crayola Pipsqueaks and Crayola crayons. But just so colorful, so vibrant. And I did this in one sitting, one night of sitting watching TV, and I got it done. So this will definitely be next to me at night, and I will continue to work in that one. Okay, so now I think this is the only book I completed, the only page I completed that I actually used like my pencils, my Crayola pencils. Okay, did I do this one on the 15th? I might have done this one with my Artex. I think I did this one with Artex colored pencils, and he's so cute. I really like this book. This Butte book is adorable, and they're quick little pages. I don't know if I'll do the same colors for him in every page to keep it kind of uniform. I don't know, we'll see. Really like how the background came out. I love the little worm. So cute. So July 15th, and then I did a second one right here. And this one I know I used my Prismacolor pencils. Here, let me bring it up a little closer for you. Yep. So cute. So that is what I did out of Matchstick Mouse, a springtime coloring book. 2 more books to go. So I worked out of my Floral Mandala. This was earlier when I was on a mandala kick. And I completed this page July 11th. This is by Debbie Densham. This is the only book I have of hers, and she gives you a color palette on the bottom to use in your pages, which is kind of cool. So you don't have to pick colors because she gives it to you on the bottom. So that's what I've been doing throughout the whole book, is just using that color palette. I used my Teo Tree art markers for this, and yeah, got that one done. And the last book to show you is out of my Creative Haven Mandala coloring book. Again, another mandala. And this is color by number, so I didn't have to choose the colors. And I completed this one on July 9th. Using my Teo Tree. You can see where they did, these lines are super, oops, I keep bumping the camera. These lines are super thin, so it's really hard not to bleed over the lines, but I use my Teo Trees for this as well. And then, like I've been doing in all my other videos, I like to show you what I've been up to on my iPad. So let's see here. I think I have my, July completed pages. So I did this one out of Alice Mills Publishing. And if you haven't seen my other videos, I like to scan these. I already own these books. I scan them and then I put them on my iPad to color them, because then you can make your own color palettes. I have so many different color palettes, but you can actually literally pick the colors that you need from the back of the book. And then you're not using up any of your markers, and you can shade, you can straight color. Then this one was out of my is it Circumalism book? Let me see, what's the name of this one? Color Art Book Atlas. It was out of this book here. So yeah, these are fun to do on the iPad, and you can bring the iPad anywhere with you. Oh yeah, and I did this one on July 16th. So I also colored this. You saw in my Alexander Francis coloring book. I colored it with the crayons. Well, I did it first on here, and you can see how I shaded and put some highlights to really make it pop. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. And maybe I'll do a video on how I color on my iPad. If you would like to see that, please comment below. I really need to make more videos. So yeah, 3 pages done on my iPad. Not a whole lot. I was into the Crayola this month. Anyway, if you're still here, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.